elegant, deadly, and honorable. The samurai are among the most iconic warriors in history. But how did an entire island nation come to be defined by these sword-wielding warriors? To understand the samurai's rise, we must journey back over 1,000 years into Japan's turbulent past. It all began during the Heian period. Japan's imperial court in Kyoto struggled to control its expanding provinces. Wealthy landowners, or daimyo, needed protection. And that's when private warriors began to rise, the early samurai. These warriors soon became more than hired swords. Clans like the Minamoto and Taira gained political power through war. When the Genpei War broke out, the samurai decided the fate of the nation. By the late 12th century, Japan was fractured by clan rivalries. The imperial court in Kyoto was weak and corrupt. The Taira clan held power, but the Minamoto had been waiting. When Prince Mochihito called for rebellion, the Genpei War erupted. Taira versus Minamoto, East versus West. As the war raged, the samurai class came into their own. No longer just tools of nobles. They were commanders, warlords, and living legends. The Minamoto clan, led by Minamoto no Yoshitsune, crushed the Taira in a string of decisive battles. Most famously at Dan no Ura, a sea battle that ended an era. The Genpei War didn't just end with a victor, it ended with a new era. The samurai had risen from servants to sovereigns, and Japan would never be the same again. In 1192, the emperor granted Yoritomo the title of shogun, making him the military dictator of Japan. Thus began the shogunate system, where real power rested with samurai-led governments, not the emperor. When the Mongols invaded Japan, the samurai stood as the last line of defense, with unmatched discipline and the aid of a legendary storm. The kamikaze, they repelled one of history's greatest empires. But this wasn't just a war. It was a clash of worlds. The samurai, trained for one-on-one combat, were shocked by the Mongols' mass tactics, explosive weapons, and terrifying war drums. Still, they adapted, they resisted, and they refused to back down. Against all odds, and aided by nature, the samurai pushed back the world's greatest empire. Their defiance would become legend, and the kamikaze, the divine wind, became a symbol of Japan's unbreakable spirit. Over centuries, the samurai evolved beyond warriors. They became scholars, poets, and bureaucrats. Their lives were guided by Bushidō, the way of the warrior, emphasizing honor, loyalty, and self-sacrifice. Japan was plunged into chaos during the Sengoku period. Warlords fought for control, samurai armies grew in size and brutality, and legendary figures like Oda Nobunaga and Tokugawa Ieyasu rose to power. Japan fractured into chaos. For over a century, warlords battled endlessly. The samurai became generals, strategists, and legends. Their swords shaped the nation's destiny. Amid the chaos, samurai warfare became more than brute strength. It became strategy. Oda Nobunaga revolutionized combat by using firearms and ambush tactics. Castles became fortified masterpieces. War was no longer just honorable. It was tactical, calculated, and brutal. In this blood-soaked chessboard of ambition and betrayal, the samurai rose not just as warriors, but as master tacticians and nation-builder. After centuries of war, Tokugawa Ieyasu unified Japan and established peace. But peace meant fewer battles. Samurai were transformed into administrators and lost their central role as warriors. Under Tokugawa Ieyasu, Japan was unified. Peace came at a cost. Samurai had fewer battles to fight. Many became bureaucrats, poets, or teachers. The warrior turned philosopher. But peace brought a quiet crisis. Samurai, trained for battle, now lived lives behind desks and scrolls. Many felt lost, torn between their warrior identity and the expectations of civility. The katana still hung at their side, but it was more a symbol than a weapon. In a time without war, the samurai's greatest enemy became within. The slow fading of a life built for battle, now forced into silence by peace. The modern world came knocking in the 19th century. Western influence, industrialization, and reform ended the samurai era. Their swords were banned, their status dissolved, but their legacy, unforgettable. Modernization swept in. The Meiji government abolished the samurai class. Firearms replaced swords. The old ways faded, but not without resistance. Stripped of their status and their purpose, many samurai could not accept a Japan without honor, without tradition. In 1877, Saigo Takamori, a samurai loyalist, led the last great stand in the Satsuma Rebellion. It was a battle of swords versus rifles, of past versus future. The samurai did not fall quietly, but the world they were built for was gone. The age of honor bowed before the age of industry. Though they no longer walk among us, the samurai's code, discipline, and spirit still echo through Japan's culture, philosophy, and martial arts. Their story is more than history, it's legend. From Hollywood blockbusters to anime and video games, the samurai have become global icons. Their legend transcends borders, fascinating millions around the world. The age of the samurai may be over, but their legend is eternal. Honor, discipline, legacy. That's how Japan became an island of samurai. Stay curious, stay sharp, and subscribe to the Question Central for more mysteries from history.